Welcome to this Oracle ADF Mobile Insider Basics seminar entitled Introduction to Oracle ADF Mobile. My name is Shai Schmelzer. I'm a Senior Group Manager for the Oracle Development Tools, and in this seminar we'll give you an overview of what is Oracle ADF Mobile, how it works, what's the architecture, and we'll actually use a demo to show you how you build and run applications with Oracle ADF Mobile. With the exploding popularity of mobile devices, they are expected this year to outnumber regular desktop devices in terms of access to internet applications. And when we're talking about mobile development, there are some specific challenges that IT departments face. One aspect is that the technology is evolving in a very rapid pace. We have multiple operating systems. The two main ones right now are iOS and Android. And each operating system comes with a different set of tools, different languages, platform, SDKs, and other aspects that make the development for that platform quite unique. In parallel, the expectation of the end users from your mobile applications are very high. They are used to applications that they download through the stores with very specific behaviors and capabilities, and they expect your enterprise application to match those capabilities. In parallel, many of the IT organizations out there are currently optimized for web-based development. The expertise of the developers and their skills are focused on Java-based, web-based application development. The first thing though, before you actually go and build your mobile application, is to get an understanding of what are exactly your mobile requirements. Different aspects of the application that you need to build will have different influences on choices that you make in terms of technology and solution. You need to understand which type of devices are you targeting. Are you targeting tablets? Are you targeting smartphones? Or maybe you're targeting feature phones. Do you know what type of network you're using? Are you using Wi-Fi? Are you using 4GL, or are you using slower networks? Do you actually need to take advantage of the features of the device itself? Do you need integration with the camera? Do you need integration with the GPS? Do you want integration with the contact list on the phone? You also need to understand your end user profile. Is this a dedicated customer who is part of your organization, or is it an external customer where you have less control on the device that is going to be used to access your application? All of those decisions will impact the technology that you're going to use to build the application. In today's world, we can see three types of mobile applications that are being developed. The first one is called mobile web applications, and those are basically web applications served from the server and accessed through the browser that is available on your smartphone or tablet. The browser then governs the access to local resources. This usually means that it's quite restrictive in terms of accessing device services or the file system. The advantage of those systems is that you can usually leverage the existing knowledge that you have about building web application. In many cases you can leverage existing backends, and the code that you develop is usually quite portable between different platforms. The browser on most devices behave in a consistent way. The other type of application that we see is native mobile application development. Those applications are actually downloaded and installed on the device and allow you full integration with the device features. This includes integration with all the services that the device offers, the operating system, and it also gives you a very specific look and feel and behavior for your user interface. The downside of those applications are that they are usually tied to a specific platform, which means that it's very hard to make them cross-platform, and the reusability of your code is very limited. A third type of applications that we see in the market today are hybrid mobile applications. Those applications leverage HTML5 as the way to render the user interface on the device. HTML5 is able to give you more of a native look and feel for your application. The applications are then optimized for specific mobile platform and allow you to directly access your local storage and device services. They increase the reusability of your code and the portability of your application across devices. Let's talk about the mobile development that Oracle ADF allows you to do. So first of all, Oracle ADF, as you probably know, is our development framework for any type of application. So with Oracle ADF you can build applications that target web, desktop and mobile user interfaces, and they can access a range of backend services, from databases to web services to legacy applications. With the same framework we are also able to develop for mobile devices. We actually have two types of applications that we cover. We cover both the web applications and the hybrid applications. For web applications, you have two solutions in Oracle ADF. You can use the regular Oracle ADF Faces Rich Client components. Those are the same components that you use for regular Oracle ADF web development. And those components are suitable for scenarios where you're targeting usually tablets or big screens, and where your network connection is pretty good. And this is because those components have quite an extensive interaction with the backend. Their AJAX type of interactions require quite a good network to back the user interface. If you're targeting feature phones and smartphones, so older phones and newer phones, and if you have situation with a slower network bandwidth, then you might want to consider the Oracle ADF Mobile browser solution. Let's talk about what we did with each one of those technologies to make them mobile appropriate. With Oracle ADF Faces, we did some optimization to support running on mobile devices. This includes support for touch gestures, HTML5 rendering for a lot of the visual components instead of Flash, support for flow layout in addition to the stretch layout, support for a component called Smart Table, basically allowing the table to behave in a better way on a mobile device, and various other enhancements for things like the style sheets and other aspects of Oracle ADF Faces to make the experience of running ADF Faces application on tablets very easy and transparent for you as a developer. In most cases you can take your existing application and just run it from modern tablets. Oracle ADF Mobile Browser is based on the Trinidad set of components along with some specific mobile rendering capabilities. The nice thing about those components is that they support smartphones and modern devices as well as older phones and feature phones. They are able to adapt to the browser capabilities of each device. So if you're running them on an older device, we will still be able to render the user interface, even though some of the functionality might not be as rich as if you're running on a more modern device. This is a set of over 60 components that allow you to build your application using the same concepts of JSF development, along with a mobile optimized cascading style sheet that would give you more of a native look and feel for your web application when running on devices. In this seminar, however, we're going to focus on the new Oracle ADF Mobile capabilities. Oracle ADF Mobile is a new hybrid mobile solution from Oracle. It leverages the Java and HTML5 and allows you to build a single application that can be installed and run both on an Android operating system as well as iOS, the Apple operating system. The nice thing about Oracle ADF Mobile is that beyond the fact that it's built on standard, it allows you to leverage the existing skills you already have as a Java developer and as an Oracle ADF developer. The basic architecture of Oracle ADF Mobile is based on a thin native container that is available for each one of the platforms. The native containers allow you to install directly on the device and allows you to also do device interactions. For user interface, we're leveraging the HTML5 and JavaScript standards, and for writing business logic, we're using the Java language. Our user interface is a native user interface implemented using HTML5. This includes support for advanced UI interactions, animation, and gestures. We support specific mobile functionality, including springboards and navigation bars. And we also support a large set of the data visualization components that are available on your mobile device. For the logic that runs your application, you're going to use the Java language. As part of the container, we have a lightweight JVM that is available as a native library on the device. This ensures high performance of your business logic code. We also provide an easy way for you to access remote services using SOAP or REST interfaces. For the development environment, you're going to leverage JDeveloper. Oracle ADF Mobile is available as an extension to the regular Oracle JDeveloper, and you're going to recognize a lot of the interactions and gestures that you're familiar with from regular Oracle ADF development. This includes component-based UI development, support for task flow, data controls and data binding, easy packaging, deployment, and even debugging. All this along with the rich functionality of the code editors. The ADF Mobile extension to JDeveloper integrates with the Apple Xcode and Android SDK to allow you direct deployment to devices as well as running with emulators. For the UI aspect of your mobile application, Oracle ADF Mobile provides 3 solutions. Each one of them can be implemented on its own, and they can all reside in the same application. The first solution is called Local AMX File, and AMX stands for ADF Mobile XML, and this provides you with a JSF-like development approach where you use components to lay out your mobile screens. The components at runtime generate HTML5 and JavaScript to give you the native look and feel. Inside the application, you can also incorporate remote URL content. So this is basically any HTML content that is served from remote servers. For example, it can be an ADF Mobile browser application or an ADF Faces application. And those are just included and are available as part of your application. In addition, you can also develop local HTML files that would be run on your device and can be part of your application. And here you can leverage any third-party HTML5 framework to do those pages. Of course, the more interesting part in Oracle ADF Mobile is the ADF Mobile XML components. What we're talking about here is a set of over 50 components that allow you to build very rich user interfaces for mobile devices. We include capabilities such as declarative data binding, and the rendering again is done using HTML5 at runtime. As you can see from these screenshots, there are a lot of components that are available from you, from some of the basic components like buttons and checkboxes and radio buttons and selectors and date selectors and all sorts of lists, to advanced collection viewing capabilities such as a list view or an iterator, as well as a carousel, various charts, gauges, maps, thematic maps, and more. ADF Mobile also supports the concept of an ADF controller. This allows you to develop an MVC architecture where the controllers control the flow between pages in your mobile application. The controller allows you also to include invocation of methods as well as decision points. Control flows that you create can be packaged for reusability and can be called from one flow to another flow. ADF Mobile also supports the concepts of ADF binding. This allows you to have a simple way to create user interfaces from business services. You can simply drag and drop business services that contain data or methods that you want to invoke and drop them on the page as various UI components. For integration with the device features such as phone, camera, SMS, email, etc., Oracle ADF Mobile relies on PhoneGap, but instead of you having to code directly to the PhoneGap API, we packaged everything and wrapped them in a data control access layer. This allows you again to drag interactions with device features into your page and invoke them in a declarative way. In addition, we provide an easy API for you to do the same operations programmatically from your Java code. Oracle ADF Mobile also covers the areas of access and security. We allow you to authenticate against an application, and we have built-in integration with the Oracle IDM solution. We are able to do offline authentication, basically meaning that once you log in into the application while connected, we can maintain your username and password on the device and allow you to log into other features of your application, even if you lost connection to the main server. We also support the concept of a single login across various features in your application. You can restrict access to specific features in your application using roles. And Oracle ADF takes care of encrypting the information about your user and password that is stored locally, as well as encrypting data in a local SQLite database, encrypted SQLite database that is provided as part of the Oracle ADF Mobile solution, and of course encrypting all the communication that is done between the mobile device and the servers. One main focus point for Oracle ADF Mobile is the focus on reusability, and this is done through features. So when you're building applications with Oracle ADF Mobile, you're going to develop features. Each feature can have specific functionality that you develop into it, and then you can package this feature as a reusable jar file, or what we call an FAR file, that you can take and add to other applications. This allows a team of developers to cooperate on developing a single application where each one of them works on a specific feature. Let's see an overview of the overall Oracle ADF Mobile architecture in this slide. So on the left side you can see what is actually running on the device, and on the right side you can see our access to remote servers. If we'll start from the UI layer of the Oracle ADF Mobile environment, here we're using web views, and that's basically the capability that allows you to show web content as part of your application. This of course runs inside the device native container, which is the red box that you can see on the left side. So the web view can leverage servers served HTML files. So for example, again, applications that are developed with ADF Mobile Browser, ADF Faces, or any basically third-party HTML generating site, you can just incorporate them into your application. You can also use local HTML files. And in addition, you can also use the AMX components to create your pages and the ADF controller to back those components and pages. For your business logic, we have the Java box down here, which allows you to write your manage bin as well as Java classes that implement access to data. Java classes can access local database, and this is an encrypted SQLite database, and they can also access remote services. So SOAP or REST services that are sitting on the remote server can be accessed from your Java code and also exposed using the ADF model to your user interface. For accessing your device services, we're using again PhoneGap here in the middle, and you can very easily drag and drop device service integration into your user interface interaction or into your Java code. In addition, we have the support for security in front of access to remote servers, as well as an application configuration manager that allows you to adjust the application to specific requirements and specific environments when you're deploying your application to different devices. Now let's see a demo of Oracle ADF Mobile in action. First we look at a demo of an existing application that we developed before, and then we'll go into a development demo. So the first application, we're going to use an iPad to run it. It's called the Summit application, and it shows us a list of customers on the right side and a map of the world that shows us the sales in each region. We can overlay the map with various pieces of data, such as the trend of sales or the most popular products in each region. At the bottom we have gauges and a graph, and the map actually ties to the list of customers on the right. So when we click on an area in the map, on a region in the world, we can see the customers in that region being shown on the right side in the list component. This component allows us to scroll it using our finger and using touch gestures. Now let's switch to the second feature of the application. Here we can see the list of the customers as well as details for specific customers. So we can click on one of the stores that sells our equipment and see information about this store on the right side. The third feature of the application shows us again some information about orders from our customers. We can see the list of orders, we can click on them and see information on the right side. Let's see another application. This one is the HCM application. Here we see a list of our employees. We can scroll the list with our fingers and we can click on a specific employee to get more information about him. This screen shows us information about the employee as well as an iterator that shows us the list of employees working for this employee. Another feature of the applications allows us to see the to-do list for this employee and information about each one of the expenses he needs to approve. The third feature of the application focuses on showing us some of our charting capabilities with various types of charts showing animation as well as sensitivity to finger gestures. Now let's see the development experience for building ADF Mobile. We're starting in JDeveloper and we're going to create a new application of type mobile application. Give it a name and a package prefix and click Finish. JDeveloper creates two projects. One project contains code for your overall application and another one is for specific features. Over here you have the ADMF feature XML file where you can define new features. So let's create the first feature, we'll call it AMP, and you can define here icons for the feature, general information, constraints of aspects like do you want this to be constrained to specific platform or specific capabilities of the device. And you can also define the content type for your feature. Again, this can be one of three types of content: remote URL, local HTML, or an ADF Mobile XML file, which is what we're going to use. Then you can define a single page or you can define a complete task flow. So let's do a complete flow. We'll call it the AMP flow. Here we're taking into the task flow editor where we can drag and drop, for example, pages, and we can connect them with flows. We can also drag methods, routers, etc. Before we actually go and design one of the pages, let's create some Java logic that would actually get us some data. So we're going to create a new Java class. We'll create the first class, which will be AMP. This will basically define the structure of our data. So this is basically just a set of attributes and getters and setters as well as constructors for this type of employee data. Then we can create another Java class. We'll call it amps, and that would basically be our service class. In here what we're going to do, for example, is have a method that returns a collection of employees And you can see that over here we're actually populating the employees right now directly in the code, hard-coded. But of course this piece of code can go over to a local database, can go over to a remote web server, get information, and basically returns it as a collection. Once we define those, we can actually go and create a data control out of them. When the data control is created, it will be available here, and you will have access to the employees collection. If we actually refresh this section, you'll see that in addition you have access to device features as well as application features, all of those through declarative data controls. Now let's go and actually develop one of the pages. So we'll start with the emp page. You can define here which parts and component you want in your overall page. Let's just have a header for this page. And you're being taken into the code editor for your page. You can also split the screen to see a preview of how the page would actually look like visually. On the left you have your structure pane, where you can also access specific components directly. For example, we can look at the header text and we can directly go over here and change it. Any change in the code will be reflected visually over here. Similarly, we can go over to a button and change things through properties. For example, let's have a title or a text saying graph, and we can select the action from the available list of actions which are retrieved from the navigation that we have in our task flow. Okay, so this is the basic screen. And now let's get some data into the screen. We can do this simply by expanding the emps and taking this collection and dragging it into the page. We can choose how to drop the information. In our case, we're going to drop it as a list view. List view is a very common design pattern for user interfaces on mobile devices. We have different types of lists, each one with subtypes. We're going to go for the simplest type right now and just show the name of the employee, and we're going to divide it according to the first letter in the name of the employee. So this will give us a list of employees that we can see over here. Now let's see what's going to happen when we click the graph tab. When we click the graph, we'll go to another page in our application. Over here maybe we just need one button. Okay. And this button, what it's going to do is actually just the default back navigation to navigate back to the page from where we came. And now we can take the same employees and drop them on this page. This time we're going to drop them as a chart component. You have various types of charts that you can choose from, and we're just going to use a simple bar chart to show the salary for each employee. So this is the second page. In a similar way, by the way, you can work with web services. You can, for example, define a new data control of type web service. This is the hello service. Okay. And you just need the URL to your WSDL. You'll find the methods available from this service, and by going through this wizard you'll get another data control that you'll be able to use for your hello service. If we want to invoke this, let's create another page in our application. Create a navigation, and on this page we can take the method and drop it, for example, as a parameter form, and then take the result and drop it into the page as an input text component, for example. Again, if we look at the preview, you'll see how our page is constructed, and we can of course change the order of things in here. Okay, let's also pick up the button and enable it to navigate back to the first page. In the same screen we can also add integration with device features. For example, we can use the send SMS method and just drag and drop it into our page. This will give us two parameters as well as a button to send the SMS. Now that we're done developing the user interface, we can go ahead and deploy our application. In order to deploy, you need first to set in your preferences under ADF Mobile the information about the SDK for the platform that you're targeting, whether it's Android or iOS. In our case, it's just an Android environment. And then we can go ahead and create a new deployment profile. Here we can choose to which platform we want to deploy our application, and we can create two profiles if we need to. We can set all sorts of preferences for our environment, including whether we want to deploy in release or debug mode. Debug mode will allow us to actually do remote debugging of the application on the device. And once we're done, we can choose to start a deployment process directly to a device, to an emulator, or to a standalone package that you can take and distribute. We're going to deploy directly to a mobile device. Now that the deployment has finished, let's go and see our application in action. So now let's look at our device. We can see our application on the device. Let's click on it. We'll see the Oracle splash screen. You of course can customize this screen to display your own image. When the application loads, we can see the list of employees. If we click on the graph button at the top left, we'll go to the graph page where we can see the graph of salaries. Clicking on specific bars, we'll get the specific data in a little pop-up. Let's click the back button to go back to the previous page, and now let's click the web service button to go to the web service invocation page. We can fill out a name here and press the button to invoke the remote web service and get the results back in our display. And we can also put in a message that we want to send using SMS. Click the SMS button and send the message directly with SMS. In summary, the new Oracle ADF Mobile application development environment allows you to build on-device iOS and Android application. You develop a single application that is able to run natively on both operating systems. ADF Mobile abstracts the complexity of developing mobile application and gives you a simple and visual development approach, leveraging the same skills that you already have, Java skills and Oracle ADF skills. If you want to learn more about Oracle ADF Mobile, go to our Oracle ADF page and you'll find a link to a dedicated page to Oracle ADF Mobile on our website. There you can find tutorials, demos, sample application, and of course documentation. Thank you for attending this seminar.